The young boy joyfully skating on his board is named Reki. He got into his boss's car and headed to a skateboarding competition to challenge his rival, Shadow. Shockingly, Shadow tampered with Reki's skateboard. Undeterred, Reki immediately challenged him. As the match began, the referee signaled, and two figures swiftly skated forward. Unexpectedly, Shadow even dared to look back provocatively, annoying Reki. At a curve, Reki overtook, but Shadow played dirty, throwing a firecracker under Reki's skateboard. Reki lost balance and crashed into the crowd. Returning to class with injuries, Reki found a new, cool and handsome mixed-race transfer student from Canada named Snow, who said little during his introduction. The boss was worried about Reki, who thought his loss was due to his own lack of skill, unrelated to others. Meanwhile, Snow, having just arrived in Japan, looked for a job and initially interviewed to be an assistant for an electronic calligrapher, but was rejected due to his age. After the interview, he met Reki chasing after his skateboard. Helping Reki retrieve it, Snow was encouraged by Reki to try skateboarding. Snow naively agreed and immediately fell. Reki then quickly skated and jumped over the fallen Snow. Seeing Snow's potential interest, Reki recommended he visit the skateboard shop where he worked to pick a beginner board. Snow mentioned he was looking for a part-time job. With Reki injured and the store manager unavailable to deliver skateboards, Snow, having a motorcycle license, easily got the job. The task was set for 3 nights later, to deliver skateboards to a customer at a venue that only opened at night for a secret skateboarding contest known only to insiders. The captain needed to borrow money that day and couldn't attend. Reki took Snow to get a sticker for mine entry and heavily promoted the high-speed skateboarding contest, which could exceed speeds of 100 kilometers per hour. Reki was currently refining a skateboard, determined to create the best one for the best race, inspired by a photograph of his father. Snow was puzzled by this concept of the best. Soon, they packed up and left to deliver the skateboard, with only 5 minutes remaining to the start. The venue was crowded with spectators. Reki handed his backpack to a contestant, but took the wrong one, a mistake that infuriated the skateboarder who threw the bag away. Although upset by the disrespect shown to the skateboard, Reki apologized and offered to retrieve the correct one, but there was no time left. If the race was lost, the man's girlfriend would face public humiliation. The man asked Reki to skate instead. When Shadow provoked, Reki sent Snow to fetch tools to repair the skateboard for the race. Unexpectedly, Snow wrapped tape around the skateboard and his feet, deciding to race for the injured Reki in a style similar to single-board skiing. Famous skater Cherry Blossom supported Snow's decision. As the race started, Shadow quickly pulled ahead while Snow remained stationary, stunning the crowd. Suddenly, Snow crouched and began pushing off the ground with his hands, drawing laughter. Reki and the contestant couple covered their faces in embarrassment. Shadow, seeing Cherry Blossom, initially worried Snow might be a dark horse, but relaxed seeing his unconventional technique. However, Snow gradually got the hang of land skateboarding, which, though different, reminded him of his past skating experiences. He then leaned forward and accelerated. Cherry Blossom rode a motorcycle with Reki to follow the racers. As Shadow skated on, he realized no one was watching him anymore. Then suddenly, Snow appeared right behind him. The young skater ahead, named Reki, was being chased by a huge curve, but he didn't plan to slow down. Shadow thought Snow would crash, but instead, Snow impressively countersteered by touching the ground. Unfortunately, his skateboard wheels hit the ground, allowing Shadow to overtake him again. Cherry Blossom told Reki that Snow's movement suggested he was originally a snowboarder, which was indeed true. For Snow, the mountainous racetrack felt like flat ground, but the course was not that simple. To his surprise, the last stretch of the race was through an abandoned factory. Shadow thought he had won, forgetting that snowboarding is favored by Red Bull, so Snow took a more perilous route. Shadow, frustrated, decided to use firecrackers again. Just as Reki arrived, he shouted a warning, but Snow didn't touch the ground. Instead, he grabbed the skateboard and flipped in the air, using the fireworks as a filter. At that moment, Reki thought he saw snowflakes inside the factory. Snow won the race, and Reki immediately rushed to compliment him on his incredible skill. The next day, Reki asked Snow to skate again. Snow agreed, and began skating with Reki's push. Just as he was getting the hang of it, they approached a busy road. Reki immediately shouted for him to stop, and Snow quickly braked, tumbling on the ground with his hands, nearly being run over by a truck, a master nearly slipping into another world. Yet Snow enjoyed the adrenaline rush similar to skiing. Reki agreed to lend him a skateboard for practice, but stressed the difference between skateboarding and skiing. Reki then began teaching Snow the basics of skateboarding, like how to balance and adjust body dynamics to prevent falls, even training him on the playground. However, Snow hadn't learned to turn and ended up crashing into a wall, eventually being taken away by a teacher. Meanwhile, Cherry Blossom and Joe, who knew each other privately, were international figures, a renowned calligrapher and an Italian restaurant owner respectively, and old rivals who only appeared civil in public. Both had their eyes on Snow, the new skateboarding rookie who had just defeated Shadow, who, surprisingly, was a complete novice at basic skateboarding. Snow's mother, noticing injuries on her son, worried about bullying, but the injuries were actually from skateboarding falls. Although he had been practicing, the lack of fixed components on the board made it unfamiliar to him. Also, Snow had failed his latest job interview, so Reki took him to plead with his store manager for help. On the skateboarding front, Cherry Blossom and Joe were old adversaries. Cherry Blossom enjoyed AI, while Joe thought computed angles lacked excitement. At that moment, Snow was practicing the butt jump with Reki, contemplating giving it up, but Reki convinced him that only the butt jump could elevate their skateboarding to new heights. Snow, who had skied for 15 of his 17 years, naturally disliked that the skateboard could detach from his feet. So, Reki took him to his home's skateboarding storage. Reki's mother and sister warmly welcomed Snow. Reki showed him a magazine, noticing that Snow preferred larger skateboards for increased stability. Snow nodded in agreement, impressed that Reki could discern this. Not only did Reki recognize it, but he was also capable of crafting it, as the type of board Snow wanted was rare on the market. Thus, Reki procured a new plank of wood to rework. Snow followed him to watch skateboarding contests and skill videos, realizing that skateboarding could be done anywhere, unlike skiing, which was limited to mountains and indoor facilities. Skateboarding can be practiced anywhere and offers considerable freedom. For Reki, skateboarding represents infinite possibilities. As they practiced, they also worked on crafting Snow's new skateboard. Snow, who gets queasy at the sight of blood, would scream upon seeing blood from falls. Reki, puzzled, asked if Snow had never been injured while skiing. Snow explained that skiing injuries are typically bruises or fractures, so blood is rarely seen. However, in skateboarding, falling is part of learning. Snow had given up skiing because his father passed away, and he lost the desire to continue skiing in Canada. Yet, he found himself attracted to skateboarding once again after arriving here. Finally, Snow successfully completed a butt jump, and they both clapped and celebrated his quick learning within 2 weeks. When Reki went to the store owner to boast, a young man entered, challenging Snow. Reki knew him. His name was Mia, a representative of the Japanese skateboarding team. Snow, who still loved thrilling competitions, accepted the challenge. During the challenge, Mia noticed the close relationship between Reki and Snow, which soured his mood as it brought back some unpleasant memories. He immediately confronted them, leading to a freestyle skate-off. The initial spins and continuous steps were manageable, but the jumps were hard to follow. Mia, being a team representative, executed his moves cleanly. Reki tried to mimic him, but ended up falling face first. Snow quickly followed, but fell during a turn when his strap loosened, scraping his knee severely. Mia, annoyed, suggested they change equipment to avoid excuses if they lost. Reki then modified Snow's skateboard. No one believed Snow could win, except for Reki. During an interview with journalists, Mia was well behaved. A journalist asked Mia to perform a skateboarding trick, and some team members who disliked him tried to distract him during his performance. Mia handled it smoothly, smirking at them as he believed their cliquish warmth hindered progress. Meanwhile, Snow was quickly mastering skateboarding, but he always fell when turning because the wheels don't pivot. Security chased them, and they split up. Reki tripped over a discarded seat on the roadside and got an idea to adjust Snow's skateboard. The store manager showed Reki a video of Mia's race, highlighting his skills as a talent in tricks. Reki felt that Mia didn't seem happy during the races, which was true. Mia had fallen out with a close skateboarding friend, and was also being stalked by a weirdo who decided to skip work to watch their competition. On the night of the race, Reki brought the modified skateboard to Snow, who trusted Reki completely. Mia, feeling jealous, proposed a wager. If Snow lost, Reki would have to become his dog. Reki was shocked, wondering why he was involved, but if Mia lost, he could be a cat or a dog or anything else. Surprisingly, Snow agreed. Reki was nervous as the race began. Shadow tried to catch up by driving, but Reki expertly hitched a ride, not caring about the previous incident, while Shadow was frustrated and helpless. Mia's decision to race against Snow was because Adam had intentionally backed down, initially disappointing him. But when he saw Snow leap over a rock at high speed, Shadow gasped. Reki smiled slightly. His modifications allowed the wheels to twist freely, leveraging Snow's 15 years of skiing experience. For him, it was as simple as drinking water. Watching Reki cheer for Snow, Mia suddenly remembered his own friends, who had shunned him after he became famous, believing he treated others as beneath him. Therefore, Mia devoted himself solely to improving his skills and stopped making friends. He leaned forward, hands behind his back, and accelerated in a speed skating posture. Unexpectedly, Snow surpassed him with a butt jump technique. Mia, not to be outdone, used a drainage ditch to make a turn, and then the two entered an indoor skateboarding area. Snow wanted to take the same route as before but needed to speed up. Mia blocked him tightly in front. While Snow was figuring out what to do, Reki burst in, shouting for him to use the skateboard. Without hesitation, Snow headed towards a broken handrail. Mia was in front of a broken handrail, and Snow, with a quick skateboard turn, maneuvered past it and ultimately won the competition. Reki joyfully hugged Snow, praising the skateboard he made, and told Mia that skateboarding should be a joyful activity. Mia knew this. He had started out happy too, but after winning awards, his friends drifted away. Reki hit him on the head, prompting an aloof response from Mia, though Reki still tried to make him laugh. At that moment, Adam, the big shot behind the racetracks, appeared, mocking Mia as nothing special and even attempting to meddle with Snow. Reki angrily demanded Adam retract his insults to protect Mia and challenged Adam himself, though Adam was more interested in competing against Snow for his perverse aesthetic. Nevertheless, Snow agreed to race Adam, but only if Reki raced him first. Reki informed Snow that Adam had never been defeated. Cherry Blossom and Joe, who had helped establish the racetracks with Adam, were nearby. Joe told them that before the tracks were established, they used to practice skateboarding together. For Adam, skateboarding seemed like a ritual of expressing love, but everyone who skated with him eventually quit racing. Reki suddenly remembered his own past friends. On the other hand, Adam's real identity was closely watched by his family, leading to a repressive life. Truly, repression breeds deviance. His secretary didn't continue observing Mia, but had customized a training program for Snow and Reki. The two knew this aloof character was finally opening up. Meanwhile, Shadow, a florist by day and a professional prop racer by night, was coerced by Mia and Reki into taking them to the racetrack, or else they would reveal his secret crush on the florist shop manager to her, making him comply immediately. Mia had not competed against Adam, but he had seen Adam's real identity and knew that Adam's skating was not only fast, but also technically more precise than his coach's. Adam also claimed to have a move called Love's Embrace, supposedly able to skate uphill, but it was widely doubted. When Cherry Blossom and Joe planned to challenge Adam, they took Reki and Snow up the mountain to teach them their own method of drainage ditch turning. Reki rolled into the bushes, and while Snow was retrieving the board, he decided to test the rumored technique and unsurprisingly fell. Reki seemed indifferent, but practiced daily, with Snow by his side. Shadow, investigating Adam's track record in secret, found that all skateboarders Adam had taken an interest in ended up in the hospital, raising concerns about Reki's safety. Adam was infamous on the racetrack, and at the race venue, everyone hoped Reki would withdraw, even if it meant not receiving an apology from Adam, as what he said wasn't entirely wrong. Reki didn't agree to withdraw. He simply didn't like Adam's attitude. When Adam appeared, Cherry Blossom and Joe were also present. Adam didn't care, and Reki even lit a cigarette right after the race started, giving Reki a demeaning comparison to an appetizer before a match with Snow. Adam then suddenly grabbed his skateboard and charged forward, disappearing from sight so quickly that nobody could react. Suddenly, he was behind Reki, stepping on Reki's skateboard and pulling him into a tandem turn without slowing down, almost forcing Reki's head to touch the ground. Snow, seeing this, chased after them on a motorcycle. Adam thought he could completely defeat Reki, but Reki remembered Snow's words. It wasn't about whether he could fight, but about wanting to win. So, Reki pushed forward, using an advanced drainage ditch turning technique. Adam, not taking him seriously, performed a flashy maneuver and executed Love's Ascent, a technique for climbing uphill. Reki nearly crashed into Adam and had to brake suddenly, resulting in a serious fall. Adam then approached Snow to provoke him, while Reki was taken to the hospital with a fracture. Thankfully, nothing more serious. Reki worried about involving Snow, but Snow wanted to skate despite the psychological shadow Adam had cast. Snow refused to quit the race or use the protective gear offered by the boss, determined to beat Adam. Reki, unable to convince Snow, stumbled upon Cherry Blossom and shared his concerns. They went to find Snow and found Maya, training him on Adam's vertical turning technique, which Snow quickly mastered. Cherry Blossom then took them to Joe's shop, creating a familial atmosphere. Cherry Blossom explained that Adam's Love's Embrace was just a sharp turn with a bit of forward acceleration, creating an illusion of moving uphill due to the backward movement of others. Snow was excited to try this technique despite knowing the principle wasn't simple to execute physically. After a meeting, Snow drove Reki home. Reki shared about a friend who quit skateboarding due to severe injuries, worrying Snow might do the same. Snow admitted he was initially upset about Reki's injury, but later just wanted to compete against strong opponents. He promised Reki that even if he got hurt, he wouldn't give up skateboarding. On the day of the race, Adam's secretary prepared for the competition. Adam arrived at the venue and even presented Snow with a bouquet of roses. Just before the race started, he wanted to smoke. Snow stood still, waiting. When they both started, Snow, following Cherry Blossom's advice, kept his distance in a straight line to prevent Adam from using Love's Embrace. He planned to overtake Adam on the curves. Adam realized someone had strategized against him. He thought Snow would choose the factory for a final showdown, but was surprised when Snow used Adam's own technique to pass him. Excited, Adam began to show off on his skateboard, speeding up to latch onto Snow's skateboard and initiate tandem skating again. He thought he was testing Snow, but found Snow could still smile through it, proving sometimes the best way to handle a madman is to out-crazy them. As the two remained deadlocked, they approached an abandoned factory. Unexpectedly, Adam used his Love's Ascent on a curve, thinking Snow would crash into him. Instead, Snow flew past him on his skateboard. At that moment, a weirdo spotted an opportunity and, without hesitation, began to act out, swiftly moving ahead of Snow and forcibly competing with him. As they picked up speed, neither yielding, a patrol officer appeared nearby, causing the gathered skateboarders to quickly flee. Adam got into his secretary's car, and luckily, at the crucial moment, Reki drove away with Snow, temporarily halting the competition. Reki urged Snow not to take further risks, but having experienced the thrill of speed, Snow was unstoppable and even recommended a healing hot spring to everyone. On the deck, Reki spotted a girl with long black hair and tried to approach her, but she was on the phone. Meanwhile, Joe and Cherry Blossom were also there, with Shadow caught up in babysitting duties. Now everyone was together. The original plan was to visit the hot springs for healing, but along the way, Snow, who had grown up in the Canadian Rockies, raced towards the ocean. The group enjoyed themselves at the beach until Snow, sunbathing under the harsh sun, suffered a heat stroke. They took shelter under a beach umbrella. Shadow noticed Joe surrounded by girls and was tempted to disrupt, but Reki advised against it, saying it would backfire. Instead, Snow and Reki enacted a drama, with Snow protecting Reki. Mia stepped forward, calling Joe Dad, and pointing out Mom nearby. It was Cherry Blossom. The girls were shocked, mistaking them for a gay couple, and quickly dispersed. Mia successfully gained wild parents. Elsewhere, the secretary informed Adam that he was being watched by the police. As soon as Adam stepped out of the car, he was entangled by the police. Shadow then took them to a small inn. Joe intervened, bringing them to Cherry Blossom, who was there to write calligraphy for the hotel. They ended up sticking around, enjoying a meal together. After dinner, Reki adjusted Snow's skateboard, impressing Snow with his ability to quickly identify issues. Reki felt Snow was rapidly improving and worried he couldn't keep up. Mia played games nearby, mentioning that the innkeeper said it was a special day and advised not to wander outside at night. Reki went out to buy a drink and ran into Joe, asking him for skateboarding training tips to not fall behind Snow. That evening, They discovered the hot springs were actually 5 kilometers away, ideal for skateboarding. They were warned to be careful of something lurking around, which led them to playfully scare Reki, who considered visiting the hot springs during the day instead. However, the other 5 paid no heed. Shadow led the charge, with Snow and Mia following him down the right-hand path. Cherry Blossom calculated the shortest distance via elevation changes, and Joe followed her down the left-hand path. As Snow was about to speed off, he realized Reki was missing and went back to find him, only to discover Reki startled by a cat, clearly scared but unwilling to admit it. They continued, and upon climbing a slope, Snow smelled the stench of rotting sewage. Looking ahead, they saw Shadow lying in a muddy mess, emitting a decayed smell and urging them to flee. Then Mia screamed, also covered in mud. Soon, a stinking mud creature appeared behind them, causing Snow and Reki to run for their lives, unaware that Cherry Blossom and Joe had already reached the hot springs. They kept running uphill, desperately skateboarding away. Unexpectedly, the mud creature grabbed Shadow's skateboard and chased after them. True to the saying, skilled skateboarders are found among the common folk, the creature adeptly accelerated around the curve, catching up with them. Reki nearly fell again, risking further injury, but Snow swiftly grabbed his hand, potentially saving him from disaster. However, ahead of them was a group of mud creatures waiting, and the two struggled in vain, ultimately overwhelmed by a stench as they were attacked with filthy rags. While Cherry Blossom and Joe relaxed in the baths, the 4 arrived covered in mud. It turned out that the mud creatures were part of a local festival on the island. Meanwhile, Adam, feeling unresolved about the last competition, instructed his secretary to organize a championship. Since meeting Snow, Reki started going to school earlier, especially when he saw Snow skillfully skateboard and reach new heights, earning praise from passing school children, which Reki acknowledged with nods. However, the pleasant day ended when they encountered Adam, whose supervisor was involved in illegal activities, drawing the attention of Officer Sky. Adam, irritable, derogatively called his subordinate a dog. On the other side, Snow's fame on the S racetrack grew, and Reki was very proud. However, it bothered him that people referred to him only as the guy next to Snow. Even Sky's involvement couldn't stop the talk. During this time, Cherry Blossom and Joe arrived noisily. Witnessing Snow accelerate and perform flips, they noted his strong aerial skills, not just from his 15 years of extreme sports experience, but also his courage that surpassed ordinary fears. Everyone felt Snow was fit to represent Japan in competitions. Realizing Snow's exceptional abilities made Reki feel increasingly left behind. He went to get a drink and overheard someone calling him a mere tag-along to Snow. After that, Reki became distracted, forgetting his lunch and not even noticing Snow. During a school competition, he realized he couldn't keep up with Snow anymore, and became less frequent at the S racetrack. Reki watched videos of Snow skateboarding and couldn't understand why he couldn't keep up with his friend. Was he really lacking in talent? To his dismay, he missed one event where Adam unexpectedly announced a championship targeting Snow. Snow, craving competition against strong opponents, a common trait among extreme sports athletes, was cautious due to a previous promise to Reki to stay away from Adam. Everyone was energized during this period, especially Cherry Blossom, who, despite being a dignified calligrapher now, was a delinquent in high school. Back then, he and Joe knew Adam, and all 3 skateboarded together until Adam suddenly changed and announced he was going abroad. Neither understood what happened, but decided to confront Adam during the championship. Snow informed Reki that Adam had been to the S racetrack the previous day, but Reki, frustrated with Adam and feeling pressured, didn't want to hear about it. Watching Snow easily reach stars that he struggled to touch intensified Reki's frustrations.